Greetings everybody, my name is Geek, and today I'm going to hopefully do a quick video just basically talking about the problem that I feel a lot of anime and manga fans will experience and empathise with, which is of course the problem of live action anime movies, which unfortunately has been growing recently. Now, if you're unfamiliar with what an anime live action movie is, it is basically when movie companies will take an anime, a manga, or even an original video game in like an anime manga style, and will basically make a movie of it, but not an anime movie, a live action. Now, a live action movie is basically what the majority of films are. It's basically filmed with real life actors acting on screen, real sets and all that. So basically it's like this video is now, you know, I'm a real person, I'm in a real room, all that. So this video would be a live action type video, and so that's what a movie is. So, you know, pretty much every movie is an example of live action. Star Wars, Ghostbusters, Back to the Future, you know, they're all live actions, you know, they're not animated basically. So that's basically what an anime live action is. It's an anime movie or manga, whatever, filmed as kind of as a normal movie would be filmed. Now, you might be sitting there thinking, well, what's wrong with that? I mean, surely if an anime or manga has a big fan base, then it would be a good idea for movie companies to invest and create films about this. And you would kind of be right, but you'd also be very, very wrong. You would be right in the sense that if maybe a live action movie was needed or wanted, then yes, people would enjoy it, and also if the movie companies could do a good job. If you can get those three things down, then you're probably going to have a successful anime movie. The trouble is that unfortunately anime movies and live actions very rarely hit all three of those things. And to be honest, I don't think I've ever seen an anime live action movie or drama that has hit all three. You know, you probably get one if you're lucky. Two, if, I don't know, you were blessed by God or something like that, or a god, I don't know. Let's not do religion, it's too late at night. But as I've talked about before, and it's very similar with the situation of unnecessary reboots, anime live actions really are just there so people can make money. Surprise! I think the main problem is really, and this is kind of general throughout all anime movies or live action movies and dramas, is that the fact that the things you see in anime are on a totally different spectrum to the things that you will see in live actions, but also the things that will work in live actions. What is seen in anime and manga will not work in live action unless you have an anime and manga that is a very, very realistic slice of life type anime, because that is what movie companies tend to have the capability of doing. It's kind of hard to explain, but you know, a lot of anime series, they're kind of it's kind of like comic books in a way. You know, you have no limitations. Of course, animating does have a budget and all that, but you know, when you are just drawing things, you can have pretty much anything happen without having to worry about expenses of CGI and how good things will look, because it's all in that one style. Once you move that over to live action, then you have your problem. A lot of movie companies are not willing to have large-scale budgets for things like this, so therefore the limitations are very, very high, which means that you cannot create the kind of endless possibilities seen in anime, manga and video games, because there is such a huge limitation on the movie kind of side of things. And then this breaks into, I think, two more kind of subheadings, I suppose. You kind of have when American movie companies are in charge of it and when Japanese companies are part of it. Now, when it comes to live action anime movies, the Japanese companies have kind of given themselves the reputation as the ones who are shit at CGI. And this links back to what I said previously about how you have the endless possibilities within anime, manga and video games, and how these are just not built for the live action side of entertainment and media, because no limitations pretty much, and limitations. And I can use the example of the recently announced Tokyo Ghoul live action. Oh my god, please make it stop. Now, if you've seen or read Tokyo Ghoul, I won't give any spoilers, but you will know, or that you will now know after I tell you, that Tokyo Ghoul has elements in it that will involve heavy CGI. This could be the actual ghouls themselves, or any of the violence within it, or psychological scenes. Regardless of which part of the anime and manga you look at, it's evident that Tokyo Ghoul is definitely going to be one of those animes that when it gets made into a live action, it's going to need a big budget and decent CGI so that it looks good and doesn't look cheap. And this is something that Japan over the years has not been good at, and I'm not solely blaming Japan. I think plenty of American companies have done this as well, and I just think that overall the problem with CGI is one thing that really does ruin it, because whoever it is that makes a live action always tend to choose the really popular animes, which obviously is just, if you're gonna make a live action, you choose one that has a wide audience, but they choose the ones with the wide audience and lots of CGI requirements. Now, I don't know if there's a correlation between what would need CGI and what gets the big audiences or not. Personally, I don't really think there is, but either way, that's kind of what messes up the majority of live action anime movies. An example I can give of this is of course the fairly recent Attack on Titan live action. Now, I saw the trailer for this when I wasn't into Attack on Titan, so I didn't follow the hype in any way, so I don't know whether people's expectations of it were high or not, but what I do know is that after people had seen the movie, they said it was crap, and it was for a number of different reasons, whether that was because they changed the characters, whether because they got rid of one of the most loved characters, Levi, but also because I heard a lot of people say that it just kind of looked silly, and that is that the Titans looked a bit stupid, and I don't know what they thought about the, sorry I had to like click my back there, what they thought about kind of the actual motions and action sequences involving actually killing the Titans. I can't remember a lot about what people said, but what I do know is that it was met with fairly negative reviews. And also, like I've said about reboots and all that crap, most people just make these because they want to make money, and I think that's more where the American sides of things come in. Now, I think American movie companies have the ability to give things large budgets to have good CGI. You know, we have seen films throughout the decades that have had pretty decent budgets and have come out with good CGI and have been great films. Now, I'm not saying that money and CGI and budget is what makes a good film, but I think when you're taking something like an anime that involves CGI, you need to have the budget in order to create that good CGI. Sometimes it depends on what you're making, but sometimes CGI does determine whether or not the movie will be good. And because I feel like American companies just want to make money, they are not going to give these movies the budget that they need because they want to make money, and therefore it's not getting the CGI that they need, and therefore will be a crap movie. So basically, regardless of whether it comes from the Japanese or from the Americans, you can pretty much guarantee it's going to be a crap movie, which is why anime live actions, regardless of the movies, dramas, what they come from, whatever, regardless of what it is, if it's a live action based on that kind of media, people have met it with negativity from the minute it's announced because of the history that these things have had. Attack on Titan live actions, Dragon Ball, I think Avatar: Last Airbender, some of the Death Note ones, a lot of these people have not enjoyed for a number of different reasons, but I think you can spread out the CGI and just wanting to make money excuses, reasonings throughout pretty much all of it. Now, admittedly, there have been some that, okay, I think people said that a couple of the Death Note dramas looked pretty good. I started watching the first episode of the Death Note one a while back, and then I had to stop watching it because I didn't have Crunchyroll properly, and I don't know, too many ads and all that. I will go back to it because it does look good, so I can't remember which one it was, but there was definitely a Death Note live action drama that people liked. And I also believe that there is a sequel to Death Note coming out as a live action drama. I think it's set 10 years after, and I think there's like 6 Death Notes. I'm just about to go and watch the trailer, but from what I've heard from people, this has actually been met with a fair bit of positivity. So, of course, you can't say that all anime live actions are shit. It's just that that's the way the majority has become, simply because of budget and CGI, and simply I think it bogs down to the core problem with like the Ghostbusters reboot. It's just that these things are not needed. I think movie companies, although they try to cater for large audiences so they can make the most amount of money from the box office, I think they also tend to think that because it has a large fan base, automatically people will want anything to do with that media, that fandom, which automatically is not true. People do want things from that respected fandom, but within reason. So anime fans don't want live actions because of their history and because of how shit they all tend to be. What anime fans tend to want tend to be more anime sequels potentially, or maybe more manga editions or anything like that. You know, it's hard to say, it depends on the person and the respected anime and series or whatever, but live actions aren't always what they want, which is why that people tend to dislike these, mainly because they are not necessary, and then the shittiness of the movie just piles on top of that. And the very last thing I'm going to talk about is, just as far as I'm aware, just a rumour, and I hope it stays as a rumour because my god, this makes me want to break out the baseball bat that I've got over there by my guitar. What I'm talking about is none other than the rumour that there will be a live action adaptation of Akira. Now, Akira has been renowned as an absolute masterpiece and probably the greatest anime film ever released, and to be honest, I would not disagree with any of those opinions. If you have not seen Akira, then my god, you have not lived. Go away now and watch that film. It is absolutely amazing. It was revolutionary. It was a masterpiece. It is an all-time classic, a fan favourite, and there are very few people who within the anime community who have not seen Akira. Whether you are a fan of just series or movies, or whether you've only ever seen Death Note in your life, well then that would not make sense, but you know what I mean. Most people have seen Akira and have loved it. It's one of those kind of like untouchable things. It's like Star Wars. Everyone has seen it, everyone loves it, and you don't touch it. But of course, as far as I've heard, Warner Brothers are now trying to get their grubby little mitts on it. Now, pop quiz time. What's the problem with American companies trying to make live action animes? Well, that's right. All they care about is making money and will not give it the budget. Now, Akira, once again, no spoilers. I might have to put a photo in there just to kind of explain what I'm on about, but Akira will need a lot of CGI, especially in certain parts, and it will need to be good CGI, because Akira is one of those things where if it was not done right, it would just be atrocious. Akira had an absolutely huge budget when it was made. I believe it was like, God, 1 billion yen, I believe, or around that, which, I mean, that is incredible to think about, because 1 billion yen, that's gotta be like $10 billion. I don't know what that would be in UK currency, but just think about that, 1 billion yen. What I've also heard is that the person that Warner Brothers want to direct this potential Akira live action is the guy who did the Fast and Furious films. Now, I don't think that's gonna work. Yes, there are opening scenes within Akira revolving motorbikes, and the bikes within Akira are incredibly cool, but once you get into the story of Akira, the motorbikes pretty much become irrelevant, and the story is so different and has such depth that the motorbikes become the very last thing you think about. Really, overall guys, there's not a lot more that I can add without repeating myself, but basically, if there is a live action Akira movie, God forbid, it will have to be given the proper budget and have the proper CGI in order for it to be bearable. regardless of whether or not fans wanted it or whether or not it is necessary. It needs to be given the nurturing, otherwise it will just flop like every other live action ever. So basically, overall, the problem with live actions is that they're unnecessary and they are made very badly, and it's just for money and no care is given to them like their original medias. So please feel free to let me know what you guys thought down in the comments, whether I'm right or whether I'm wrong, if there are live actions you like, you hate, comment anything you like. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Remember, embrace the weird and stay geeky. Goodbye guys. Horny the clown. You are an ugly cunt. No, I'm so offended. What do I do? Guys, I'm so offended.